Hello, and welcome to part 7 of my civilization game as the Persians. In this episode, we are going to take a look at the Persian campaign against the Vikings. So here, I begin by attacking the Vikings, and it didn't damage my reputation, because for whatever reason, I don't seem to have had a peace treaty with them anymore. I don't know why, but it's the way it is. So here, my first effort is to go and take Cladir, which will put me in striking distance of Trondheim, and it will also give me a base of operations for attacking the Udal. Fortunately, the Senate supported my continued desire for war. And so here I am building a transport in order to attack the Udal. Now I had to do that, do it that way in order to be able to rush a unit while the city was in disorder. And so what I'm doing here is building railroads in Egypt so that I can get my trade units to the cities I like faster. And so there we have the Viking counterattack, which did little more than destroy transport. And so I believe this was my first instance of pollution. There will be more, which I don't think I put in. So anyway, there's my second round of troops. I have to get ship chained into Lisbon. And so there goes my attack on the Udal. Fortunately, it only has a couple of defenders, so my cavalry can make short work of that and take the city and get Magellan's expedition. And here the Senate forces me to at least agree to a ceasefire, and it might have made me make a peace treaty too. I'm not sure. Probably, in fact. Which ordinarily, if you have a ceasefire, you should try to go for peace, because that way you can force their units to get out of your city radius. In this case, I probably should have left it at a ceasefire, because I plan to attack them again anyway. So here, I made a couple more deliveries, or just one more delivery to Vikings and a handful elsewhere. Oh, and that's nice, I discovered an advanced tribe there. And so the barbarians move again. And the Russians, obviously. So Lisbon builds a barracks, and I discover combustion and begin refrigeration. So, try to goad the Vikings into declaring war. That didn't work. They just withdrew their troops. And so this turn I just take a look at what the Vikings are defending their cities with. And so here I brought a spy into Egypt, just in order to take a look at their cities, and so it's really nice because then you can see which cities actually do in fact have the most trade. Because you can make a guess, but sometimes it's hard to know for sure. And so most of these deliveries are rather small. So one thing to note is that I'm delivering to the Mongols. Oh, well, here's another nice large unit stack I killed. But I'm delivering to the Mongols because their cities demand hides. And I have a couple of cities that produce hides. Now the interesting thing about the hides commodity is that when you produce it, it doesn't get used up. And also, if you send a caravan to it, if you deliver it to a city that demands it, that demand doesn't get used up either. So here I'm making Prague, and the main reason for building the city was so that when the Russian alliance gets cancelled, I actually don't lose all of my ship chain from basically the city getting the units getting moved away from the city to the nearest city, I should say. And I just decided to build it up to size 3 so that I could celebrate right away and become a good city. And so here, I break the treaty again, and the Senate lets me, and my reputation goes from spotless all the way down to dishonorable. But that doesn't matter, because now I can attack Trondheim. And so, you know, take a break a little bit to attack Viborg, or at least look at it. I will be attacking it this turn, I believe.
Fire! Fire!
There, so Trondheim is empty, but I want to empty Viborg first to minimize the possibilities for the Senate forcing me to make peace on this turn when I can only get one city. And so there, I'll capture Trondheim and Leonardo's workshop, which was the whole point of this campaign. And I get Viborg also. And so here I built city walls in Viborg because I was going to concentrate a number of units in it. So now all those elephants were upgraded into Crusaders. And I bribed another elephant. And so it turned out that that cruiser that I built just for fun actually turned out to be useful last turn. And so here, the Zulus and the Vikings signed a secret alliance against me. But, you know, at least this time I did something to deserve it. I mean, oftentimes, the computers will sign alliances to contain your aggression when you've never actually done anything. But here I've done something, so yeah, makes sense. So bring in a couple more engineers in order to complete the railroad from Viborg to Lindholm.
Fire! Fire!
So the assault on that city continues. And I also bring a transport full of units to attack Hastings. There we go, capture Lindholm, and the Senate still supports me, which is good. And I get Hastings as well. And so I built a submarine to sink a frigate. But it was the cheapest unit to attack at sea. And the rifleman barely defeats my dragoon, which is just as well. So there we go. I know how much force I'll have to bring against Newcastle and Kopang. So here is something that I've noticed only once or twice before, is that sometimes your city supply will change. Your supply and demand will change for your city if you have zero shield production, well, net shield production. So I took advantage of that in order to be able to make more freight. And so here I'm delivering some of the upgraded freight and making peace with the Zulus. And getting some nice payouts too. So, over time, what I ended up doing a long time ago was sending caravans to the Zulus, because they had a lot of, their democracy, and they had a lot of cities that demanded stuff that I had. So I just sent some caravans there, knowing that it would take a while for them to be upgraded to freight anyway. And so here I'm finally expanding my influence in this area after beating all of those barbarians by building Venice. So I researched automobile right away because superhighways to me are worth a lot more than upgrading a handful of units, because I did the important upgrades already, which were the caravans to freight and the ships to transports.
Fire!
Anything else I could get doesn't really matter. And superhighways increase your payouts from caravan deliveries by 50%, plus whatever extra trade they give your city. So they're really, really good. So there, I get Newcastle, and use that same cavalry to attack Kaupang. Turns out later that I could have made the railroad all the way up to Kaupang before attacking, but whatever. And so here, instead of delivering freight, I build superhighways. Now, technically speaking, I could have planned it out so that I only had to build a couple each turn, but I just built a whole bunch and spent most of my money on it.
Fire!
And there, the Vikings attack another one of my straight transports. I was pretty well just using them for exploring at that point, because I didn't need them to transport tons of troops over anymore. And so something I started to do was to rename my cities, adding a suffix to tell me if they have superhighways. I should have done that when the cities actually built them, but whatever. Just means that you don't have to check cities as much.
Fire!
On the subject of trade, I could reduce my science costs by giving the Mongols technologies. I haven't done that, one, because more technologies reduces the demands for hides, which I have a couple of cities that are supplying them, and also, since I'm delivering tons of caravans anyway, reducing the science costs doesn't matter, and might actually make it more likely for me to run into the 2/3 technology cost cap for caravan deliveries.
Fire!
So here, I captured Uppsala, and the Senate forces me to make peace with Vikings, when I still haven't captured Westness yet. But in any case, that is the bulk of the Viking campaign, and I achieved my really important goals of capturing Magellan's and Leonardo's workshop. Which means that this will be a reasonably good place to end the video, with just a couple more things to do, like reveal those barbarians from that hut, and make Salzburg size 3 in order to make it start to celebrate. And build superhighways in Ura Tiyub for future deliveries. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.